Krishna, yes, we can go ahead and start.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayit Shunmata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridiyantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Saritatam Nashtaprayashu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12, Text 22-23. Tam Krishna Pada Bhinivishta Chetasam Baddhanjalim Prashyayana Mrakandharam Sunandana Daupa Sruta Swasmitam Pratyuchatuhu Pushkara Nabha Sammato. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dhruv Maharaj was always absorbed in the thinking of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. His heart was full with Krishna. When the two confidential servants of the Supreme Lord, who were named Nanda and Sunanda, approached him, smiling happily, Dhruva stood with folded hands, bowing humbly. They then addressed him as follows. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the word Pushkaranabha Sammato is significant. Krishna or Lord Vishnu is known for his lotus eyes, lotus navel, lotus feet, and lotus palms. Here it is called Pushkaranabha, which means the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has a lotus navel. And Sammato means two confidential or very obedient servants. The materialistic way of life differs from the spiritual way of life in that one is disobedience, the other is obedience to the will of the Supreme Lord. All living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. They are supposed to be always agreeable to the order of the Supreme Person. That is perfect oneness. In Vaikuntha world, all living entities are in oneness with the Supreme Godhead because they never defy his orders. Here in the material world, however, they are not sammat, agreeable, but always asammat, disagreeable. This human form of life is a chance to be trained to be agreeable to the orders of the Supreme Lord. To bring about this training in society is the mission of the Krishna consciousness movement. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the laws of material nature are very strict. No one can overcome the stringent laws of material nature, but one who becomes surrendered soul and agrees to the order of the Supreme Lord can easily overcome those stringent laws. The example of Dhruv Maharaj is very fitting. Simply by becoming agreeable to the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by developing love of Godhead, Dhruva got the chance to personally meet the confidential servants of Lord Vishnu face to face. What was possible for Dhruv Maharaj is possible for everyone. Anyone who very seriously engages in devotional service can obtain, in due course of time, the same perfection of the human form of life. Text 23. Sunandana va Sunandanandava va uchutuhu bho rajana subhadram devacham no vahitah shunu यह पंचवर्ष तपसा भवान देवमति त्रुपत. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nanda and Sunanda, the two confidential associates of Lord Vishnu, said, Dear King, let there be all God fortune unto you. Please attentively hear what we shall say. When you were only 5 years old, you underwent severe austerities and thereby greatly satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport: what was possible for Dhruv Maharaj is possible for anyone. Any 5-year-old child can be trained, and within a very short time, his life will become successful by realization of Krishna consciousness. Unfortunately, this training is lacking all over the world. It is necessary for the leaders of the Krishna consciousness movement to start educational institutions in different parts of the world to train children starting at the age of 5 years. Thus, the children will not become hippies or spoiled children of society. Rather, they become devotees of the Lord. The face of the world will then change automatically. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, Assembled Vaishnavas, for giving me this opportunity to speak for my own purification. I'll summarize today's verses from the summary given by Senior Acharyas, lectures from Senior Acharyas, and proposed by Srila Prabhupada. Please forgive me if I add my own meaning or interpretation to this. So, in these two verses, there are a few important points that Srila Prabhupada has mentioned. The Dhruv Maharaj has been performing austerities at Badrikaran, and then now he's in the final stage of his life where he has completed all the austerities, and finally now the two servants of Lord Vishnu comes in a celestial plane to take him to the abode of Lord Vishnu. In fact, Prabhupada, Dhruv Maharaj has his own planet, so in a spiritual world. So they're taking him there. And we will see in next few verses. Interesting thing here is that they take him along with in his material body. He didn't have to give up his current body. He just take him with his current body. And then we'll see what happens when he enters the spiritual world. Very, very interesting. So, but in these two verses, there are a few important points pointed out by Srila Prabhupada. First verse is, in first point is that the point made about our eternal position as the servants of the Lord and what should be our attitude. First and foremost, the quality of servant is that he should be sammato. Sammat means to agree. So here sammat also means confidential or very obedient servant. So servant is first, foremost quality of the servant is that he is agreeable to the will of the master. Or even if he's agree or disagree, basically he follows the will of the master. So our eternal position is that if we go to fundamentals, we are servants of the Lord. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always said that Jive Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das means we are eternal servants of the Lord. And that means to become a servant of the Lord, we need to understand the will of the servant or will of the Supreme Lord, and agreeable or obedient to that will. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that we need to be not just the servant of the Lord, but for us, we need to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, right? So, to understand the will of the Supreme Lord, first we need to train ourselves who know how to understand the will of the Supreme Lord. So that starts with us, ourselves, understand and training ourselves on the will of our spiritual master and Vaishnavas. If we do that, because spiritual master and Vaishnavas are aligned with the will of the Supreme Lord, we are automatically aligned. Now, how do we do that? I mean, so the first and foremost thing is first we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and we read Srimad Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Then our heart gets cleansed. As heart gets cleansed, we start to align, and first we start to understand the will of the Supreme Lord, and eventually we as our heart gets cleaned, we can understand more and more of the will of the Supreme Lord when something is happening in our life. Now, there's a contrast in the material world. The world servant is looked upon in not in a very good way. When we call somebody servant, it's not nice term. People may get offended. But we have seen that in material world, servants are order takers, and many times they are abused and manipulated by the masters. But when we see here the servants of the Supreme Lord, Nanda and Sunandan, the description are given about them, they are opulent and as bright as Lord Vishnu. They are well taken care of. So that's the difference between the servants in the material world and servants in the spiritual world. In a spiritual world, servants are aligned with the will of the Supreme Lord for His pleasure. They happily take the position to please the Lord. Now, let's take an example of certain characters in Krishna Lila, like Jatila, Kutila, Abhimanyu, and there are so many others. They play a very important role in Krishna's Parakiya pastimes, where they act adversely to give pleasure to the Supreme Lord. Now, how do we understand that? Like Ramapad Maharaj shared his experience, and when he joined the New York temple, he was new in Krishna consciousness. So, in for the like one of the initial Janmashtami festivals, they came to Boston temple, and so they arrived in like evening time, and as soon as they came, the Boston temple Russian said that like, "Oh Prabhu, you guys come at the right time. We need help with the cleaning utensils." And so Maharaj says there was no welcome, and or ask for prasadam, and they just ask us to just start working on the service. Next day also president came and say they're planning to stay there for a few days. So they say, "Hey Prabhu, you clean utensils very nicely. Can you do it again?" So Maharaj said, "Sure," but Maharaj came there to participate in a Sankirtan party where he says, I was, given the service of cleaning the utensils. So this was every day, happened for some time. While Maharaj wanted to join Sankirtan party, he was cleaning the utensils. But then, initially he remembered the Sri Prabhupada's instruction that Krishna's utensils should be as clean as you see your face. So every day Maharaj was making a great effort to ensure the utensils are shining. And then every day, when devotees would go to Sankirtan party, used to pass by him. But after some time, out of nowhere, they asked Maharaj also and say, "Now, can you come and join the Sankirtan party?" So Maharaj said that he learned a lesson that utensil cleaning made him humble, and that was the message Krishna was trying to give him, and understand that all the services are equal. But also one instruction of following his spiritual masters give him this realization. So message here is when we chant Hare Krishna mantra given by spiritual master, follow his instruction, even one, our heart cleanses and we can align more with the will of the Supreme Lord. So that's why it's very important that first we understand the will of the Vaishnavas and our spiritual master, and so that we can align with the will of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is the master of material nature. Another point made is that conditioned souls are under the stringent rules of material nature. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world, either individually or collectively. So, Lord Krishna is the supreme predominator, and all living entities, including great demigods, are his subordinates. One can attain perfect peace only in a complete Krishna consciousness. So that's why it's just like a fish. No matter what you do with the fish, you can put him in a golden, or you feed them, something special. But if you take the fish out of the water, it doesn't matter how you keep it or how you take care of it. It doesn't matter because fish needs the water. So for us, That's why it's the foremost and most important thing for our soul to be happy, that we need Krishna consciousness. And that's why um, we have seen that people have so many material appearances, but because they are not spiritually aligned, we seem them very unhappy from inside. But when at the same time we have seen the devotees where they may not have a material opulent, but they are aligned spiritually and they are very happy and peaceful. We have seen so many examples of that. That's why it's we need to clearly understand that Krishna consciousness is the only way we can attain the perfect peace in our life. And then in second verse, Srila Prabhupada makes a point that to train the children from young age so that they can change world when trained properly from young age. So if we have seen so many times that we need to change the world and we need to change people, but the transformation starts from our home itself, because first, before the parent need to be trained, as a parent we need to train ourselves in Krishna consciousness, and then we need to train our children so that once they grow up, as Prabhupada used to say, that train your children in much spiritual life and then also encourage them to take the higher positions in the material world, so that when they go on the higher positions in material world, they can influence different people to become a devotee. Because in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that whoever famous people, and people likes to follow famous people. So like film stars or judges or a president or rock stars and so forth, right? Or even uh, some higher positions in a society. So when devotees also take a higher position in societies, people will look up to them and says, what is the reason for the success? And when they see because of the Krishna consciousness, and so that will inspire them also to take Krishna consciousness. So itself will start the transformation. So that's why very important that we train first ourselves, then train our children in Krishna consciousness, fine, and then that's the best service we can actually do for Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, is that give them the Krishna consciousness child, and when they grow up, they will transform lot many other people and inspire lot many people. That's one way of doing preaching as well. Preaching is not just going outside and distributing book. That's good, actually, that's great. But this is also the way of doing preaching, is train the right children and then let them go into society and let them inspire other people and make the other devotees. So these are the points that Srila Prabhupada make in last these two verses. With this, I'd like to conclude the summary. Please forgive me if I add my own meaning or interpretation to this. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Great summary. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the excellent summary.
Thank you, Prabhu. Nice summary.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.